Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Pizza Cafe. This is a setup for it's just like a tea cafe, and one of our friends have just established this. We thought that today we will talk here to our audience, inshallah. Of course, we are enjoying here, but when I reached here, I was reminded of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. One of the psychologists, he made a hierarchy of needs that we human beings don't have a single type of need. We have multiple needs. Sometimes we need something for our physical being. Sometimes we need nourishment for our emotional self, and at other selves we have to feed our intellectual self, and of course we don't have intervals. I should say that we have a continuation of the need of spiritual self. So in the same fashion, in this continuation, I would like to say that most of us, whether we are living in Pakistan or America or anywhere else, most of the human beings learn about the physical needs, just like foods, what to eat, and how to dress, and according to the weathers, everybody comes to know, whether it is the influence of culture or the social training, or it is a family business, whatever we think, but it is quite easier for us to learn about the physical needs. But about the intellectual and spiritual needs, there is a dearth of food which we give to our own selves. I don't say that there is a dearth of availability or the sources of this kind of nourishment, intellectual and spiritual nourishment, but I am emphasizing that we have a lack of absorption or receptivity for this kind of food. What is the reason behind this all? One thing before I talk about spiritual nourishment is that even when we send our kids and we go on our own to the institutions for education, we get their education, we feed our intellectual selves, we get some kind of mental training there, but when we come back to the society, we use this intellectual and mental training for the same purpose of feeding our physical being. We move to the luxuries which will be available for our physical beings, our living style, the things we use in our life, or the material things most of the time, and most of the people. I won't say that all the human beings do so, but most of the people do so. It's cold, and I'm enjoying this, alhamdulillah, during this cold. So I was talking about spiritual nourishment, what we need while we want to grow our inner self. Our inner self is actually based on our spirit. Our spirit needs positivity. It becomes sick when it doesn't find positivity with itself. We don't have a food of positivity. Our spirit moves towards ailments and defects. It needs honesty. When we do something honestly, sincerely, it becomes healthy, our inner self. I'm not talking about physical self. Of course, as healthy the healthier our inner self becomes, the healthier our outer self will be. It is quite in proportion with the physical being. So when we become honest, when we become truthful, when we become positive, when we become a well-wisher of the people around us, when we do something positive for the people around us, when we want to give something constructive to our society and family and the people all around us, our inner self becomes healthier, and it grows more and more. So in the same fashion, the inner self or the spiritual self of the human being wants to talk to its creator. Whenever we find isolation, or whenever we find the moments of satisfaction, we have to talk to Allah. One thing I should add here is that if someone believes or thinks that there is no one who is running this universe, he or she, I should suggest that he or she just once or twice should talk to the creator, believe it or not, but just call him that I would like to know about you and the purpose of my life. Whenever somebody talks to him, he or she will find the answers, whatever the mode will be. So our inner self grows when we start talking to our Allah and the creator of this universe. So the center or the climax of my talk, today's talk, is that along with our physical being, we have to take care of our spiritual being. Physical being will leave us in this world, but our journey goes beyond death. So our spiritual self will go with us beyond this phase of life, this worldly phase of life. Wherever we move, our spiritual self will go with us. You see that the people around us leave their body or the inner outer self with us, but what goes with us is always inner and intellectual self. So the more you take care of your intellectual or inner self, the more you will be able to move anywhere, even beyond this world. Have a nice time. Thank you all of you. Assalamu alaikum.